Hello, all of you wonderful people out there in podcast land. Welcome to another episode of Black and White Reviews. My name is Will.
My name is Lee.
And apparently I ruined it, and my name is Chuck.
You did ruin it because, and I can't believe I get to say this. This week we are going to be discussing the 1996 film Fargo, written and directed by the Coen-brothers, starring William H. Macy, Frances McDormand, Steve Buscemi, and Peter Stormare.
Oh, yeah, are we?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you betcha.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Mike.
Yeah, you bet.
Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez.
Oh, man.
This isn't, oh, jeez.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to change it this week, and I'm going to start with Lee. I'm going to change the question. I'm going to change the question. I'm not going to ask how you felt about the movie. I'm going to ask, what did you think you watched? How would you categorize this movie? I think that's a more important question than how you felt about it.
Okay, that's two different questions.
How did
I
you
categorize this movie, and what did I think I watched?
Yeah,
Yes.
as in, like, what kind of genre movie did you think you watched?
Okay, well, I'll answer both of those questions because those are two different questions. So what did I think I watched? I think I watched an advertisement for what it's like being out in North Dakota
Oh, yeah?
and living
Oh,
out
yeah?
in North Dakota. And just
yeah?
everything's just like, oh, well, people died, and hey, you want to watch TV and have a home cooked meal? Okay, yeah, let's sit around and I'll fix you some eggs. All right, sounds great. Okay. What genre would I put this in? I would put this in the same thing as like a Tarantino film in a sense, where it's just like some stuff happened. There were a bunch of conversations.
Some stuff happened.
Yeah, no, some heavy stuff happened. Okay, there was
Okay.
murder, happening. There was like a scheme going on. People died, but while that's happening, people are still just like living their life. And the whole thing, you've got Frances McDormand here, and now I understand why there was a big thing about her. I knew that she was popular because of this movie, among maybe some other things, but really this was like the big thing. Mostly, any of these movies that are popular that I've never seen, like Fargo, for example, the reason I know about them at all is because of my time at Blockbuster. We always had stuff going on the overhead.
Wait a minute, is this your first time seeing Fargo?
Yes.
Really?
That's why he's asking me.
Oh.
Yes. I knew about it. I knew who was what character. I didn't actually watch the movie because, again, I know a lot of really useless movie knowledge. Like, I have a bunch of useless movie knowledge just because I worked at Blockbuster, looking at the cases while I put them back, watching stuff on the overhead, doing research on movie after movie, whatever. So finally seeing this, it all kind of came together. I'm like, oh, it's not far off from what I expected, but I think the biggest thing is Frances McDormand's character, Margie.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Margie, how's it going? Like, her.
Oh, yeah, Mike.
Just her ability to just like, it's just another day, Hey, yeah, I think you got to work on your policeman work there, DLR. That sounds like a dealer plate to me, like, just every single thing that she did, the way she handled the entire thing was just like, oh, she leaves work at work and home at home. And it's just like, wow, I kind of want to move there because it seems like everything is just like easier.
She's completely aloof. Aloof. She has no idea
100%.
of the situation that she's finding herself in. None.
She does, but she's also just like, when she's obviously onto Jerry.
Hang on, I'm sorry.
She's onto Jerry.
She's on to Jerry, but I'm talking, when I say aloof, I mean like, and no spoilers, you get to the end, there's no earthly reason why a pregnant woman would be in that situation and just be okay with it. None. That's why I say she's completely aloof. She does not understand.
That's what I'm getting at.
The gravity
That's
of
what I'm
this.
getting at about her character. It's just like, this happens, and then she's back home. The guy who plays her husband, it's really weird because just before I watched this movie, I saw a clip from the movie The Founder with Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton. He's goes and sees McDonald's and like starts blah 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 with McDonald's. He the guy who started McDonald's, Mac McDonald or whatever, was played by, I can't even see the husband's name here, but I always think of him as Steve. He was on the Drew Carey Show as Drew's brother, who was a cross-dresser. Lived his life as a woman. I forgot what name he went by. But, I mean, the dude's been in a ton of stuff. Oh, John Carroll Lynch. That's his name.
Yes.
He played Norm. And he's been in so many movies. And he's always played small parts. He's never really had, like, a big role. But he's always, like, nailed all of them. And he's always been perfect for each role he's been put in.
I'll make you some eggs. I'll fix you some eggs.
I'll fix you some eggs. I'm gonna fix you some eggs. Like, he just kind of going with it. And I saw him from behind. I'm just like, I wonder if that's Steve. I wonder if that's him. And then when you see him in the next scene, I'm like, there he is. Like, you can recognize this guy from the back of his head.
Probably.
That's how much he's been in things, because it's just very whatever. I know that's not a big thing to stick with and to jump on, but it's just all the characters in here. They all played their role really well. You've got the father-in-law, who's just like the jerk, but he wasn't. He could have been more of a jerk. I felt like he
was a jerk.
He was, but I feel like Jerry really played him up to be even more of a jerk.
Well, he didn't like him.
I know, of course, he didn't like him. I expected more. I expected a little bit more.
To him, he's a jerk. That's all he believes.
I get
to his wife and kid, he doesn't think he's a jerk.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, until he says that one thing where he's just like, "Oh no, my daughter and your son are taken care of." Like,
they never have to
worry.
worry.
When he said that one line, yeah, they got nothing to worry about. It's like, like, that was the moment where I'm just like, I see what he's talking about here. But I don't think it played up, like, it wasn't really played out more than that. That was the part. Peter Stormare, or however you pronounce his name. Everything I've seen him in, he's fantastic. He plays all different types of nationalities. The dude's from Sweden, but he's like, he was the Russian guy.
American components, Russian components, all made in Taiwan.
Yes, like, he's amazing in that. He was great as Lucifer and Constantine, which I don't know if it's if it's really true, but they did announce Constantine too.
I know, I saw that.
So I don't know if that's official, but I mean, the dude's been in a ton of stuff, and I don't think I've ever seen him in a role where I was like, oh, this guy sucks at this. Like, he's always nailed his roles as well. And I think that's the thing about this movie is there are no actors I saw in here where I said, oh, that's not believable, or, oh, that doesn't count. Like, that doesn't really work. I mean, Steve Buscemi, he's Steve Buscemi. He's a little funny looking.
What does he look like?
I don't know. Funny looking.
What do you mean funny looking?
Well,
he wasn't circumcised.
He's not circumcised. Oh, okay. Okay, then.
All right, then. Okay.
I mean,
some of the conversations in this movie are fantastic.
And that's what brings me back to Tarantino. I think the Tarantino movies, they thrive on the everyday type conversation that makes you really kind of get into it. And you're like, this is not super necessary for the story, but it makes it more personal. It makes it make more sense. So in watching this, I was like, yeah, I get this. But the whole premise of the movie, to me, the whole premise of the movie didn't really go too far. Like, it didn't have a great story. It was more about the environment. It was more about the characters and what they're doing.
It's based on a real life story.
Yes, I know, and it's based off a real life story. But I feel like this is all about. Like,
I have to stop you both right there.
Is it
no,
not?
It's not.
So it was totally baloney.
It's all.
It was just a lie. Straight lie.
Well, if you are familiar with Coen part of their shtick is theater of the absurd, and you get a little bit, you get an element of that in almost every single one of their films. And part of the theater of this absurd of this film is just making fun of how many movies came up before this that claimed to be based off true events, but they absolutely weren't at all. So
gotcha.
that feeds into the story.
Project.
So yeah, exactly. Blair Witch Project. Well, Blair Witch Project came after this, but
yeah, it was a couple years after, I think.
Yeah, but that's a perfect example of like a movie that's like, this is based on true events. Like, no, it's not, and they were basically ripping on it.
This came before The Big Lebowski, correct?
Yes. This came before
Lebowski.
Lebowski.
The Big Lebowski? Was that
Lebowski
97?
came out. Lebowski came out 98.
Okay.
Lebowski was their next film.
Oh, so I guess we're doing Lebowski next.
Yes.
That's what he mentioned.
I forgot which one we're doing. So
Yes.
this,
And then his
Lebowski,
next turn will be
and then-
Lebowski, and then the last
Yes.
one will be.
And there's a
No
reason why
Country
I
for
did
Old
it
Men.
that way. Because originally
Do you
I
want to
was
do
gonna.
No Country for?
Originally
Do you want
I
to do
was.
No Country for Old Men, or do you want to do
Lebowski's next
Staring at
because
Goats?
Lebowski's comes
The Men Who
next.
Stare at Goats.
Why would we change that? Anyway, no, but listen, the reason why I did it that way is because, and Lee already kind of illustrated it because he messed up in some of his language. Originally I was going to choose Raising Arizona for the first Coen Brothers film, but I didn't because I did not want you to make that entire conversation about Nicolas Cage, which you kind of almost said Nicolas Cage here already. So I'm really glad that I did not choose Raising Arizona. But I want to let you continue with whatever else you wanted to say.
I guess I'm pretty much done with that. I just, first viewing, it's pretty much it's what I expected. It did not surpass
So is this, would you say this is
I did.
Your mic stand is directly.
He wants to see your
in
face.
Line of sight.
You want to see my face?
Well, I'm having a conversation with you sometimes.
I can see your eyes. That's all I need to see.
That's just weird and creepy. It's
kind of creepy.
Anyone listening to this on audio only, that's just real.
The mic is facing me directly. Yours wants to point up. Great. That's why my audio is so crisp and clear.
Congratulations.
Even though I have no voice.
So I'm going to ask again, what did you watch? Did you watch a comedy? Did you watch a thriller? Did you watch a mystery? How would you categorize this film?
I can't categorize the film because
Exactly.
I didn't find it.
Chuck
I
is
didn't
right.
find it. I didn't find it super funny. The only thing I found the only
This movie
thing I
is
found
hysterical.
funny
I think this movie is a riot.
the only thing I found funny was his wife.
I'm gonna say one thing, and I don't.
When she ran.
I'm sorry, I don't usually talk this way, but come on, dude, I was banging her. When you're in the middle of the film and Steve Buscemi just yells that out because the guy just like rips her off. Come on. It's ridiculous. The whole thing is a big joke. That's the point.
I think, no, I asked for a reason because, in my opinion, this movie can be whatever you want it to be. If you want 100%. This movie to be a comedy, it's a comedy. If you want it to be a mystery, it's a mystery. If you want it to be a thriller, it's a thriller. You can take this movie.
I wouldn't say thriller.
You wouldn't say thriller?
No, it wasn't.
Okay, so what's his name? Peter Stormare, however you pronounce his last name. He wasn't the thriller element of this movie. He absolutely was. If you watch this movie and if you watch this movie,
stop getting on his bad side.
But if you watch his bad side, if you watch this movie from his perspective, it's a thriller.
Right.
I suppose.
I think so. That's
you
how
mean from his
feel
perspective? Wait a second. From his perspective. From his perspective, that's more like my life isn't like everything around me is annoying. I just want it to stop. That's not a thriller. That's just him dealing with annoying life.
He kills he kills like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people in this movie just because.
Yeah.
I would say from his perspective, it's more of a slasher film, especially towards the end.
Fine.
Yes.
Slasher thriller.
If you're gonna go
fine.
that way.
Fine.
Yeah, it wasn't like he was coming up with some master plan and being sneaky. I would not say this movie's a mystery per se. I mean, you got the cop who's looking around, but it's more of
that's the well.
This is a drama. This is more of a drama than anything. It's got its comedy elements. It's got everything else. I mean, technically, if you look at Forrest Gump, that's a drama in its entirety, all the way through.
Forrest Gump is more of a drama than this.
100%.
This is more of a comedy.
Forrest
than
Gump
Forrest
is hilarious.
Gump.
This
is funnier than Forrest Gump.
This right here is the movie. For me, the movie it's 100% satire. In the sense of it's satire for comedy, it's satire to action, it's satire to mystery, it's satire to thriller, it's satire to all of it. It's not you can't.
It's satire to the film industry.
Yes.
Okay. Then that's what I would categorize.
Yes.
I
it's
agree.
Satire
with
to the film industry. I like that.
Yes.
I like that.
Yes.
Chuck?
This movie's great. So I've watched this a couple times before, and I never really paid attention to it. I I never put I never really realized that there was a Coen-brothers film. But I have seen it a couple times before, and I was like, eh. But this was years and years and years and years ago when it, like, you know, in the early 2000s when I first kind of picked it up. And then on TV, every once in a while, I'd see, you know, parts of it here and there and, you know, all kind of fun stuff.
I can't imagine watching this on TV. I'm just trying to, like, envision what they would have edited out.
Everything.
Well, I'm not even talking about
the two
so much,
scenes
like,
and the language.
I'm not even talking about, like, the sex scenes or the language. I'm talking about scenes that happen.
Well, the
in this
reality
movie.
is those scenes aren't even like
They're not bad, but I'm saying, like,
for
there are
today,
scenes in
their
this,
TV.
There are scenes in this
You would
movie.
see those on TV today.
There are scenes in this movie that serve absolutely no purpose that I could totally see TV editing out, like the conversation with that dude in the diner. Like, there's no reason why that conversation happened. I could absolutely see TV editing that out. That's what I mean. Like, I can't imagine, like, what would have been missing. But I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I've always liked you.
Oh, the liar? Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll get there.
I've always liked you. This movie is... So I'm not a huge William H. Macy fan. You know,
not many people are.
I was okay with him in Air Force One. I did not like him in Jurassic Park 3.
Nobody did.
No.
You're supposed to hate him in Jurassic Park 3.
In Pleasantville, he was eh. I think actually in Pleasantville he was eh, but he fit the role well in Pleasantville. In this film, though,
I think he peaked at Mystery Men.
Probably.
I shovel well. I shovel very well.
He fit this role though so well.
Yeah.
So well.
Yes.
Well,
they casted
this
him
was I think this was a staple in his history of movies.
100%. It's like
I will say this, and I won't do this too much. The first season of Fargo is probably the one that's most based off of the movie. All the other seasons are based off of other Coen Brothers films, and there are elements of all Coen Brothers movies in every season. His counterpart to this Lundegaard character, his counterpart in the first season is Martin Freeman. Martin Freeman does a much better job at this type of character than William H. Macy, in my opinion.
Really?
Martin Freeman is amazing. Martin Freeman is amazing as this character. It's fantastic.
No spoilers yet, but does in season 2 of Fargo, do they find the money?
See, they don't do that. Each season is its own box. It's an anthology. You can watch the second season without watching the first. It's a completely different story. Yeah. They go in completely different directions. Did they find it? No, they do the whole thing. Like, they do the whole thing, and there's some ridiculous things that happen. But I'm not gonna give too much away.
Right. No, I think this movie is fantastic. There's so many conversations that don't need to be had in this movie, but because of the way the movie is, they fit. Like, if this was like, I would say this, if this was a real, quote unquote, real movie. Then, like, if it was a real thriller, half of this stuff wouldn't be in it. If it was a real mystery, 2/3 of this stuff wouldn't be in it. If it was a real comedy, half of this stuff wouldn't be in it. It would be a completely different movie.
If this was a real movie, Frances McDormand would be like a more serious cop than she is.
Right. I mean, she's brilliant.
Kinda.
I mean, she figures everything else. She's like, well, this is what happened there, and this is what happened there, and her partner is the idiot. You know, he's like, well, I don't get it. And she's like, well, this happened. Well, DLR, obviously it's a dealer plate. You know, it's all of these things, and she figures it out. But to Lee's point, when she goes home, she's done. Every other cop movie, it's like 24/7. They think about it. They sleep on it. They're twisted up about it. In this one, nope. She goes home. She's fine. She's good. She'll have some eggs. She's good. I think he fled the interview. Oh my God. This stuff is great. This stuff is fantastic. This movie, but I will say this. It reminds me, I can understand they do a lot because even The Big Lebowski is filmed very similar to this movie.
Big Lebowski is more absurd than this.
It is, but it's
way
more in the same.
Way more.
It
over
is,
the
but
top. If
100%,
Frances McDormand's
category.
Frances McDormand's character in this movie is ridiculous and borderline unbelievable. Whatever like Goodman was doing in that, and I forget his name, the Maine Lebowski, the Maine
Jeff Bridges.
Yeah,
thank you. Yeah, whatever he was doing was
fantastic.
It was fantastic, but way over the top. It was it's
right.
awesome.
It's fantastic. Wasn't Steve Buscemi in Big Lebowski too?
Yes.
On the bowling team.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Because then No Country for Old Men takes a completely different turn than these two movies.
Yes.
The Men Who Stare at Goats is more like this, but the No Country for Old Men is like we're going this direction. We're gonna take a hard left, and that's because No Country for Old Men is a fantastic.
It is.
Fantastic
It
film.
is.
It's phenomenal.
I fell asleep.
I don't know how you fall asleep to No Country for Old Men.
You fell asleep in No Country for Old Men. You haven't watched many Denzel Washington movies. Like,
do you like movies? No, I'm just kidding.
I was gonna say, do you? You've never seen Fargo up till this point. Have you seen The Big Lebowski?
Yes.
Have you seen The Men Who Stare at Goats?
With I don't know if I finished
George
it.
Clooney.
I saw. I know what it is, and I definitely watched some of it.
With Mike Giuliano.
You just called him out, straight up.
Straight up. I've told him that plenty of times.
Yeah. Well,
In that movie, he looks just like him. With the big old
beard.
With the big old beard.
yeah.
This movie, though, I will say this. Not having watched it in I don't know, 15, 20 years, I went into it kind of blind, and I was watching it, and I'm like, first I was like, what the heck is going on? I forgot what was going on. And then as it unfolds, I'm like, this is great. Everybody talks the same. Everybody talks the same.
Yeah.
Even the people who are calling the cops, when the cop shows up to one guy's house and he's they're all just looking around at the stars and they're just having this is a great day, Yeah. It's all that when they keep saying yeah, all that it reminds me of is Ninja Turtles 2, Secret of the Ooze.
Yeah.
When they're like, yeah. But everybody, I was waiting for, even the escort that Buscemi picks up is the same way. She's just at the bar, just chilling out, talking with them, no big deal.
I love, and maybe this is
what's going
maybe
on?
Maybe this is a little bit much, but I'm gonna do it anyways. I love when they're in the act. Come on, there you go. Come on, no, okay, all right. It's so ridiculous. It's so funny.
With the accent, with all the accents, nothing changes.
Yeah.
What's the town called? Is it Baybird or something like that?
Brainerd.
Brainerd.
Oh
my gosh, Brainerd, North Dakota. And I love how everything is an Oldsmobile, the gutless cutlass,
Gutless cutlass.
It's a tan Sierra.
Was it Sierra?
It's a tan Sierra. That's the one thing I want when we get into it. I want to know all she saw was a tan car. How did she know that was the one?
That's a good question.
I think at that point you see the grasping at straws, I guess.
Yeah,
These cars are all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
Wow.
Pretty much.
So, what were your initial? Not your initial thoughts, but what are your thoughts on the film now?
Okay, so when I first saw this movie, I saw this after I fell in love with Tarantino, and this hit me like a ton of bricks because I was like, oh my god, the dialogue in this movie is just as ridiculous, if not more so, than anything you would see in a Tarantino movie. It's way more over the top than anything that you would see absolutely in Pulp Fiction. So my mind exploded when I saw this because that's kind of what I latched onto, and just the hilarity of the situation and the way that I posed the question up front, like, what do you think you watched? That's what really like sucked me into this, because this is everything. This is everything you could possibly want it to be. And Lee, I think you said it best. It is satire on the film industry. That's
Chuck pretty much said it, but yeah.
Well, yeah, but whatever. Anyways, yeah. I think that fits this movie. I think that fits Coen to a T. They are satire on the film industry, and I think it's fantastic. I agree with both. Well, I agreed with Chuck. I'm not the biggest William H. Macy fan. He doesn't.
I don't know anybody who gets into a conversation with somebody and says, and they're like, oh, who's your favorite actor? They go, you know what, William H. Macy. I don't think anybody in the world says that.
He made Jurassic Park 3 come to life.
No offense to him. But it's just like, I don't think anybody really likes him because they always give him that type of character. You're supposed to not like his character, so therefore not like his acting.
Kind of.
If somebody plays the same type of character all the time, and that's just, you think the actor is that person. So, I mean, and you start to think, like, maybe he is that way. Of course, I'm seeing the trailer here.
There's a Showtime show called Shameless that he stars
in. That was huge for him, and everybody loves him for that.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Well, yes, but it's weird because he plays the junkie dad,
which is very different than everything else he's ever played.
But he's still William H. Macy. Not a lot changes except for him acting drunk and high. So it's like, you're still William H. Macy, though. I still see the same character.
But he's got a mullet. So it's different.
Pretty much.
Hey, mullets are back.
He's stuck in 1985. He can't get rid of the mullet. It's just it's so. But anyways, yeah, that's
why he fit in Pleasantville so well.
Well, because he's Mr. White Bread.
Wow.
Yeah,
exactly.
Pretty much. And again, to what you're saying, all these characters talk the same. They act the same because of the just the demographic and the area that they're in. I love that, like, the backdrop and the scenery is very much a character in this movie. Like, I think that's far gone. But then you get to these two characters of, Buscemi and Stromer, and it's like they do not fit. Neither one of them fit in this scenario at all. You could tell
they don't even like each other.
Not even. You could tell they're from away. They're from, city life, whatever. They are not part of this. I don't even want to call it like suburban life. I'll call it like the sticks, but like snow. Like, that's what we're talking about here. And to like throw these two characters in this movie is brilliant because they're so mismatched. Yeah, I love this movie. I absolutely adore this movie. And for me, I think this is straight up a comedy. There isn't a thing in this movie that I take seriously. Even when you get to like the big ending and what's going on in the back of that house, even that's ridiculous. It is
so
ridiculous. Oh my God. I'm not giving anything away, but just the fact that he has to grab a 2x4 or a chunk of wood to like finish the job. It's just so, what is happening here?
And you just see the ground. It's just like spray.
Yes. And it goes into... And Frances McDormand got a lot of praise after she did this role. She won awards for it, and deservedly so. I don't even think it's because of like her acting. Well, it is because of her acting ability, but like, to be able to pull off a character that is not only competent, but aloof, completely blind, completely blind to like this type of evil that comes into her life is remarkable. And again,
she's
like
not blind to it. It's just the way
she's blind to it. She's very, very blind to it. She can.
If she was blind to it, then she would have been like, in a panic attack when she finally saw it face to face.
The movie ends with her admitting that she doesn't understand. That tells me that she was completely blind to it. Like she cannot. She does not understand Stromer or Buscemi in this movie at all. She is blind to that completely. She
that's
can't
the whole
see
thing.
it.
It's like
that's what I mean. That's what I mean. To be able to go back and forth, like for her to be able to build a character like that, I think is pretty fantastic. And for the Coen brothers to be able to write a character like that, I think is equally as fantastic. This movie is amazing, and that's pretty much all I want to say without getting into spoiler territory. I think this movie is fantastic, and also like the quiet scenes where there's nothing happening. There is no rhyme or reason for a lot of the scenes in this movie to be in this to be here at all. It's just there for aesthetic or to like hammer home the point of like this simple life and how easily like something can come in and muck with that. I think is awesome.
It's fantastic. It's fantastic.
All right, go ahead. What's going on? Just go ahead and do it.
I have to. It's funny to me. So I work in the audio video lighting industry. I do live events and everything. And right now, just so everybody knows, we are recording this during the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. None of us care about the Super Bowl this year, and we're just like, well, let's just still get together. No one's going anywhere. I mean, the Pats aren't playing, so we're like, meh, like whatever. I really don't care. But I get this. Right now, apparently Usher is doing the halftime show. I'm that disconnected. I have no idea what's going on.
Good for Usher.
So my entire team right now is criticizing like the camera work and of everything right now. Like anybody else just knows the camera moved and then they messed up and they jump back over. And then apparently Usher is having like roller skating choreography on top of a video floor, like basically the LED like walls that we use, but on a floor. And apparently, like, everybody's going crazy about, like, roller skating on video wall. Oh, there's video of it, too. And my CEO is just like, I guess I missed it. I fell asleep. But, yeah, that's what we're missing, and I don't feel like I'm missing a thing. So I would much rather talk about Fargo.
Because you don't want to miss a thing.
I don't want to close my eyes.
Or fall asleep.
Or fall asleep, like
exactly.
Tim. I miss you guys, so that's why we're here.
Right.
I just don't want to miss a thing.
Right. I mean, he was a great Russian astronaut. So.
Yes, he was. You just gotta hit it with a hammer and. Well, I'm ready to
I
hit
know
this.
These things.
I'm ready to hit this intro with a hammer and get into it. So
let's do that. So from this point on, we are going to slip right into spoiler territory.
Ooh.
In and out.
What's wrong with you?
Don't you know the lines?
I know.
So if you want to catch the rest of this on video, find us on Patreon at patreon.com/blackandwhitereviews. Join us there for a couple of goodies and some bonuses. You can also find us and follow us and subscribe to us on Facebook at Black and White Reviews and on YouTube and Instagram at Black and White Reviews 1866. With that being said, again, all the audio is free on any podcast streaming platform that you can find us on. And we're going to now get into spoiler territory.
Spoiler territory.
So, spoiler territory. The one thing